Donald Trump is self-destructing over the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. It is up to Democratic leaders and to us to help him finish this job. Because even before he attacked MAGA yesterday as weaklings and Republicans as stupid and said anybody who believes the Epstein story he sold them is a, quote, past supporter and I don't want their support anymore. Even before he himself tied the Epstein sex scandal to his Russian conspiracy and that sex scandal, even before he turned one scandal into three different scandals, Donald Trump had already become president of the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. Trump is running the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. It is Trump's Jeffrey Epstein cover-up. President pervert, President Epstein, President pedophile, Trump's Epstein cover-up. I want to hear this every day. I want to hear this every day from a leading Democrat. Every day and 6 times on Sunday. Forever. I want it to destroy him. One day at a time. I want it to destroy MAGA. I want it to bury them all under a mountain of their own amoral, uncaring bullshit. The term Trump used yesterday, bullshit. I want them buried under their own bullshit forever. Is it disgusting? Yes. Is it sleazy? Yes. Is it what the Trumpist scum would do? Yes. Is it a terrible way to prevent dictatorship and terror? What? There are rules here? No, there are no rules. Pick up the damn tire iron. This is campaign gold. Every damn day. Because Trump cannot steer out of this skid. First of all, he is developing, if it is not already fully baked, a sense of complete invulnerability and a simultaneous sense that he can demand of his base total loyalty to the point of ordering them to protect pedophiles. He can't even admit he has to steer out of it, never mind take the steps he would need to steer out of it. He can't even react to the rather shocking and entirely unreported revelation that there isn't a minute missing from the Epstein suicide video edited out by Trump's own people. There is 2 minutes and 53 seconds missing. More on what that could mean going forward in a moment. But for now, Trump not only avoids acting on it or just avoids it, he keeps digging every damn hour. President pervert, President Epstein, President pedophile, Trump's Epstein cover-up. It is so bad already, less than a week in, that even the White House Stenography Corps has begun to sit up and take notice. The meltdown. The latest meltdown was yesterday.
On your Truth Social this morning, you mentioned past supporters when you were talking about the Epstein issue. Does that mean that you're effectively disowning any supporters who are now calling?
I lost a lot of faith in certain people, yeah. Instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people.
This was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
It's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele Dossier. That turned out to be a total hoax.
They were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax.
Why does he keep connecting his Epstein cover-up and Jeffrey Epstein to the Steele Dossier? Where would Epstein and the Steele Dossier overlap? P-tape. Yesterday's latest self-incrimination came only after his remarkable post on Truth Social, again, got ratioed to death by his own people. Referred to, my past supporters have bought into this bullshit hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years. Blah, 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 blah. All these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news, and the success-starved Dems is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. He's talking about his own voters. He is yelling at his own audience. It is professional suicide. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about the talking of our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. This can be arranged. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Well, he's really serious. He used both of his catchphrases. Madness. It is utter madness, and they see it for the first time in most cases. And they don't all have to see it. Just enough MAGA are calling him the Antichrist. Just enough MAGA are asking if he's now going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Just enough MAGA saying he's now part of the conspiracy. The worst of the polling has not broken against him yet. Nobody has asked the question, do you now believe less in Trump today than you did a week ago? It hasn't happened yet. But a YouGov this week, 75% want, quote, all Jeffrey Epstein case documents released. 75% of Republicans. One of the morons to whom they handed those 3-ring binders marked the Epstein files in February, Rogan O'Handley, D.C. Drano, called for all documents to be released. Called for that 20 minutes before Trump attacked MAGA. Also, quote, obviously this is not a complete hoax. I don't want it to consume his presidency, said Laura Loomer. Great work, MAGA. Keep it up. And they have to. That's what makes this so inescapable for Trump. These slime have, in the years since Trump descended, have created their own careers off things like the Epstein dragon and their portrayal of Trump as the knight who would slay it. It's not about his presidency or the cover-up or even the victims. It's about their money. And if it comes down to their money or Trump's presidency, guess which one goes up in flames? Do I smell ham burning? No, that's just Trump. Trump has taught them and taught them well. Always protect your money. Keep getting him angry. Keep distracting him, Democrats. Keep making him insist the Democrats made up the Epstein files in 2019 when Trump was president. No, not in 2019. 2025 when Trump was also president. Keep getting him to insist Epstein died 3 or 4 years ago. That would be when Biden was president, instead of in 2019 when Epstein actually died and Trump was president. Keep getting him to demand that his cult violate the physical laws of time and space and counting. Keep getting him to yell at his own audience every damn day and 6 times on Sunday. Pick up the damn tire iron. For the first time since perhaps the Access Hollywood tape, the Republicans who embraced the MAGA conspiracy time bomb had it sewn under their chests. They do not know what to do next. So they keep doing everything all at once. Congressman Tim Burchett says he doesn't trust the DOJ, wants more data hours after he voted against a Democratic bill to force the release of whatever the DOJ has. Mike Lawler told a CNN anchor it was nonsense that CNN was covering Epstein. The anchor, John Berman, had the balls to destroy Lawler with, quote, the deputy director of the FBI took work off Friday to protest the DOJ's handling of this. That's why we're covering it. Nancy Mace called for the death penalty for child rapists, thinking that nobody would have noticed that hours before she voted to protect Trump and his cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein and child rapists. Charlie Kirk attacked Trump Saturday, 180'd Monday, told his sheep to trust the government, 180'd again Tuesday, demanding Trump release more information and fix the Epstein mess. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, who comes from a town full of closets, went from prostituting himself for Trump to insisting Pam Bondi come forward and explain herself and release everything and maybe have Ghislaine Maxwell testify to the House of Representatives.
A question here about it that concerns either testifying or testimony for Ghislaine Maxwell, potentially before Congress, or if you would support members like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Anna Paulina Luna on the release of subpoenaing the Epstein documents from the DOJ, whether you would support either of those.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Marjorie or Anna about that specific subject, but I'm for transparency. We're intellectually consistent in this. We look, Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
Mike Johnson with Benny Johnson, and that's a couple of ugly small Johnsons right there. That was Tuesday. Yesterday, Mike Johnson said what he said to Benny Johnson was misrepresented. Well, if it was, he's the one who misrepresented it. But it underscores the Republicans are completely panicked over this. They have no clue what to do next. This isn't in their playbook. The moment when the streams cross and the conspiracies collide with each other and with reality, and one set of your lies contradicts the other set of your lies, and you have to choose, and your choice is exactly what you told your cult would never happen. It's perfect. Trump's Epstein cover-up every damn day. Now, the Democratic hierarchy fear, apart from the now standard, we're afraid to do anything, certainly anything that might dirty our loafers. Let's listen to Schumer and just let them self-destruct like they did over tariffs. Oh, right, they didn't self-destruct over tariffs. Just like they did over the Access Hollywood tape. Oh, right, they didn't. We stood aside, and they got away with it. Apart from the standard, but old-timey politics will resume if only we just believe hard enough, like Peter Pan. This Democratic Party fear appears to be that if Democrats push too hard, Pam Bondi, or especially Dan Bongino, and Kash Patel could easily fabricate and release a new set of documents that implicates only Democrats. This is actually logical. It certainly would only be about a 3 on the 1 to 10 scale of fascist lying and evil. On the other hand, after Bondi promised to produce the documents and a client list after they handed out those neat 3-ring binders in February, why didn't the Republicans do this then? What could have better served their coup plans? What could have better enshrined their dictatorship than to seize the Epstein case permanently and perjure their way to who knows what frenzy among the idiot MAGA base by releasing documents that only show Democratic perpetrators? Give them exactly what they wanted. Hollywood stars, Democratic politicians. Case closed. That there wouldn't be any prosecutions or anything else wouldn't matter. Somebody would say, oh, they were all publicly executed. You just didn't see it on the news. Why didn't they just make up the worst shit their perverted lack of souls could have read from their diaries? I mean, made up. I can't really answer that, but they didn't, did they? And now it's too late. They chose instead an alternate path, lighting the room they had all locked themselves in ablaze. There is no way out. They chose to stonewall, to cover up, to bullshit, to somehow manage to insult the intelligence of their cult, even though their cult doesn't have any intelligence. I guess they could still make up a new Epstein report blaming Zoran Mamdani. But their problem is now none of the conspiracy theorists, at least a third of the American voting population, none of them will believe whatever they are now told by Trump. They are shaken for the first time in the last decade. This resonates in a way nothing else possibly could. All that will stick with them is a 4-word sentence: Trump's Epstein cover-up. But wait, there's more. There is one move that could make it even worse for Trump and even better for Democrats who recognize that after 10 years of buying candy bars, they have found the golden ticket, if only they'll stop Schumer from eating it. Axios reports that one of the responses, the more realistic of the MAGA infected are pitching as a possible way to minimize the damage, to get some survivors back to shore, is a Jeffrey Epstein special counsel. Oh my God, a special counsel targeting Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and the Trump deep state. Yes. Oh my God, Ken Starr. Back from the dead, back from hell, but pointed directly at Trump's heart. Let's go. Please, Lord, please, Lord, please, Lord, let them appoint a special counsel. Please, Lord, give the Democrats how much time to keep this going every day, for weeks, for months, literally for the next 475 days, because 475 days from now is the midterms. But the wild card here, Democrats have to be willing to do this. I don't need Jeffrey saying, we'll get back to you. I need the Gavin Newsom approach. I want Gavin Newsom to tweet, Trump's Epstein cover-up, day 8, day 50, day 712. He seems to have the idea. The light bulb went off over his head. Let's do this, Gav. Do it. Not wait for the Republicans to do it themselves. Not let the media do it, like that would ever happen. Get out there and attach this to everything that happens. Every time a Republican speaks, just add, well, he's doing that to cover up for Trump's Epstein cover-up. For instance, Mike Johnson says this.
God miraculously spared the president's life. I think it's undeniable, and he did it for an obvious purpose. And his presidency and his life are the fruits of divine providence, and he points that out, obviously, now all the time, and he's right to do so.
Mike Johnson says that. Yes, God saved Trump. Some Democrat says, yes, God saved Trump so Trump could lead the Trump Epstein cover-up. Every damn day and 6 times on Sunday. Now, as to what's next on this, that Wired story that, if played correctly, not only reignites the thing again, if it ever tamps down a little bit, but sends it off to burn down yet another room full of Republicans. Wired writes, newly uncovered metadata reveals that nearly 3 minutes of footage were cut from what the U.S. Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation described as full raw surveillance video from the only functioning camera near Jeffrey Epstein's prison cell the night before he was found dead. The video was released last week as part of the Trump administration's commitment to fully investigate Epstein's 2019 death, but instead has raised new questions about how the footage was edited and assembled. Now, further analysis shows that one of the source clips was approximately 2 minutes and 53 seconds longer than the segment included in the final video. Footage appears to have been trimmed. Oh my God, it's the equivalent of the Watergate 18-minute gap. It doesn't matter what was cut from the original video. It only matters that something was cut from the original video. It's like the 18-minute gap. We think we know what he was talking about. But it didn't matter in 1974, and it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. The stuff cut from the Epstein video could be an ad for Trump's steaks. It doesn't matter. It's the cover-up that gets you, not the crime. It's what did the president know and when did he know it about how Pam Bondi doctored the video. It's a special prosecutor, and it's Christmas every day, and it's Ghislaine Maxwell testifying to the House of Representatives. And every Democrat on the committee would get to ask a different version of this same question. To your knowledge, Miss Maxwell, when did Donald Trump stop raping children? And then that brings me to the point I have been hinting at all this time. There is something else that is either really, really stupid or really, really ominous and grotesque and horrible, or all of the above. The ex-Republican Congressman Justin Amash wrote yesterday, there's something so incredibly damaging in those files that Trump would rather nuke his base in a desperate effort to get everyone to move on than publicly release the information, unquote. Something incredibly damaging? In a tape about a pedophile? Sex trafficking scum? What could it possibly be? I think Trump has always done this. He always gives us the answer. He just leaves enough information out there to make a slight jump. This is how Trump began his social media attack on his own cult yesterday. This was the second sentence. Quote, the radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele Dossier. You heard the tape before. He keeps bringing up the Steele Dossier in connection to Epstein. These things have nothing to do with each other. Or what could be in the Steele Dossier that has anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein? Quote, the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story. Wait, what's in the Russia story that would have anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein? Where is the Epstein cover-up overlap with the Steele Dossier and its lurid speculations and the Russian conspiracy and its lurid reality? You know exactly where the overlap is. The not very long leap across the stream began to emerge the day before yesterday. Why is he attaching the Steele Dossier to Epstein? Sex. In fact, it's probably more than sex. I think you're in for a big surprise. Oh, Nancy.
aus Elysium. Wir betreten feuertrunken, himmlische dein Heiligtum. Deiner Söhne binden wieder, was der Mutter singet. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Fliegel hält.
Danke, Nancy Faust! Couple of notes. Still terrified of Trump and still growing more so, the White House press corps is happily fixated on fiscal policy and whether or not Trump will fire Jerome Powell, because the White House press corps still foolishly thinks Trump is not the first post-reality president, and because, oh, thank God, Jerome Powell has nothing to do with sex. Each media outlet reported something different about Jerome Powell yesterday. Trump had polled far-right House Republicans and gotten their permission to fire Powell, scooped Politico. No, it's past that. It's likely he's going to fire Powell, scooped Bloomberg. No, he's about to fire Powell, scooped the New York Times. Then Trump announced, "We're not planning on doing anything." And just to show how far he has separated himself from reality, he gave us the real story again. He announced, quote, "I was surprised he was appointed." Jerome Powell was appointed by Trump. This is what Politico and Bloomberg and the Times should be leading with. Trump either does not remember that he appointed Powell or is trying to lie his way through that reality. In the same vein, James Comer's flailing Biden auto pen investigation. By the way, it'll be a year Monday since Joe Biden bowed out. Comer's investigation documents, he's been signing them with an auto pen. Then there is the fascist congressman from Tennessee, Andy Ogles. His second quarter fundraising numbers are in. Money raised, $53,187. Expenses, $54,225. Andy Ogles is underwater in campaign money. This may be because most of the people whose voices Andy Ogles listens to and hears so clearly in his head don't actually exist. And continuing the cynical jokes about the campaign by Andrew Cuomo to beat Zoran Mamdani in the pro forma election for mayor of New York in November, after already losing to him in the actual election, the primary a month ago here. And the joke is the guy funding Cuomo's campaign is Mamdani, because nothing could make Mamdani look better than more and more Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo has made a ludicrous campaign video and posted it on Twitter and other social media and labeled it "In It to Win It," even though he already lost it. He got ratioed, not surprising. The actual material numbers, though, are he got 5,500 likes. Mamdani hung a fundraising link from the video, and that got 181,000 likes. So the Cuomo video got 5,000 likes for Cuomo and 181,000 likes for Mamdani, which prompted this all-time classic joke from somebody supposedly in Sweden named P.I. Jakobsen. Quote, "If Andrew Cuomo hates socialism so much, why did he choose to be publicly owned?" Oh, that's the best of all time. Also of interest here, what's that shiny gold soccer object in the Oval Office? Is it the FIFA Club World Cup trophy that Trump swiped? Or is it the bald head of FIFA President Gianni Infantino? That's next. This is Countdown.
This is Countdown with Keith Olbermann.
Still ahead on this new edition of Countdown, I am just about at the 20th anniversary of the day I stopped smoking. Kind of all of a sudden. Didn't all get done in one day, but there was a day where I bought out the Nicorette supply at 2 New York City drugstores. And then I went on the air at MSNBC on a crusade to try to get across to people one simple idea that had never previously occurred to me till that day, that it would be easier to quit smoking if you didn't have cancer than if you did have cancer. To which the president of MSNBC quite naturally responded by trying to kill me. It was an interesting pro-cancer stance on his part, and cutting to the chase. Don't wait for it to kill you, I'll kill you. Things I promised not to tell next. First, believe it or not, there's still more new idiots to talk about. The roundup of the miscreants, morons, and Dunning-Kruger effect specimens who constitute today's other worst persons in the world. The bronze? Worse? After Trump and Nome helped kill the drowned kids of Texas, it's Department of Homeland spokesman Micah Bach. Quote, "It is important to note that every individual in Texas who called FEMA had the ability to be answered. That's brilliant phrasing on this idiot's part. The ability to be answered, which is exactly the same phrasing you would use if you were trying to explain that everybody who buys a lottery ticket has the ability to win $1 billion. Only the odds are better in a lottery than it was if you were trying to call FEMA during the Texas flooding after Kristi Noem and Trump got through with killing FEMA. Micah was from the Patrick Henry College and the Claremont Institute, noted for supporting fascism for 50 years, and he was in the office of Congresswoman Spartz. So if you wonder if Trump will destroy American education, Micah is proof. He already has. Runner-up worser, speaking of which, Mehmet Oz, Trump's head of Medicare and Medicaid, and he went on with poor Stuart Varney, my friend who literally taught me how to use a teleprompter this time of year in 1981, one of my favorite people at CNN who got hit by lightning or something, or who did something so bad that it turned out this life is clearly proof that this is hell, and hell will be something worse. Stuart gets all of these guys. He has to sit there, and you can see it pain him, even though he went through some sort of religious awakening, a conversion, or as I said, he got hit by lightning. He has to put a smiley face on kicking millions off Medicaid, just as Trump, covers up pedophiles and RFK Jr. eliminates vaccine. Mehmet Oz comes on Stu's show and says about Medicaid, we'll be there for you, the American people, when you need help, but you got to stay healthy yourself. Don't eat carrot cake. Eat real food. Well, this is a kind of oblique argument. I don't know how much carrot cake is being consumed by people who are on Medicaid and Medicare. But the point here is that to underscore this, Oz brought onto the Varney set a carrot cake. Brought a carrot cake with him onto Stu Varney's set and written on it in icing, Happy 60th Anniversary Medicare. So here's a carrot cake, which Oz then tries to explain to people they can't eat. I brought it with me to torture you. Wait, there's more. Long before his, as you know, when you go shopping for your crudités, the video that helped him get smoked in the Pennsylvania Senate race, where 99% of the viewers said, what the hell's a crudité? In 2014, Dr. Oz's scam of the month was Dr. Oz monk fruit natural sweetener healthy recipe for carrot cake. Dr. Oz boldly told everyone to throw away sugar and artificial sweeteners in favor of his next great find, monk fruit. This natural sweetener has just 1 calorie per serving. Try it in Duff Goldman's monk fruit carrot cake recipe. But the winner, Gianni Infantino, the latest in a succession of slimy presidents of FIFA, that's the world soccer body. No, I'm not playing the soccer breakdown, although maybe next week. Infantino apparently gave Trump something called the Club World Cup Trophy, which was played for by, athletes, people who can move their knees without help, healthy people, not Trumps, soccer players playing in the United States to win. Well, to be fair, there's a championship in soccer every 2 weeks. That's why soccer is popular. We won 16 different world championships this month. What was your record? 3-7. Anyway, he either gave Trump the Club World Cup trophy to keep for himself and a gold medal, or he let Trump steal them. This is from the Daily Beast. Quote, English club Chelsea easily dispatched France's Paris Saint-Germain in the final of the tournament in New Jersey's MetLife Stadium, with Trump joining the players for the trophy lift, much to their confusion. He got up on stage with them. He'll try this at the Super Bowl if somebody lets him. It has since been revealed that the intricate prize hoisted aloft by the London club captain Reece James was a replica because the president of football's governing body, FIFA, has let Trump use the original as an ornament in the Oval Office. Daily Beast reports it's thought to have cost around $230,000. They, quoting Trump, said, "Could you hold this trophy for a little while? We put it in the Oval Office, and then I said, when are you going to pick up the trophy? And Infantino said, we're never going to pick it up. You can have it forever in the Oval Office." Trump explained in a mid-game interview. He then revealed that the victors, Chelsea, actually received a replica of the original for winning the tournament. Putin supposedly did this with one of Robert Kraft's Super Bowl trophies, didn't he? Or was it a watch or a ring? He just kept it. It's not just the trophy that Trump got his hands on, according to the Daily Beast again. The Athletic was among several outlets to report that Infantino kept a medal aside for his friend, handing it to him after the trophy lifting ceremony. He didn't actually lift the trophy. But Infantino, who is as crooked as he is bald, is actually playing the long game here. He's not as big a moron as he might seem here. He needs Trump at some point in the next year to publicly state that no player or fan who comes here next year for the next soccer tournament will as much as see Trump ISIS, let alone be bothered by them, to say nothing of the upcoming Olympics in L.A. This is why Infantino keeps giving Trump shiny gold objects like the goddamned trophy from the tournament. Now, Chelsea, they're also geniuses here. Their official pictures of them hoisting the trophy, they Photoshop Trump out. Just like MAGA will do. Gianni Infantino. Trump likes shiny gold stuff, Gianni. You better watch out he doesn't decide he wants to keep your golden cue ball noggin in the Oval Office on display. Infantino, today's other worst person in the world! Cue ball noggin! Finally, our number one story in the countdown, things I promised not to tell, and back to my favorite topic, me. How exactly was I supposed to tell the police that the man threatening to kill me was the president of MSNBC? He was chasing me through the studios. He was too overweight to run, but even though he inexplicably lied and said he was 6'7", at 6'5", this guy, his name was Rick Kaplan, and he was the soon-to-be ex-president of MSNBC, just as he was already the ex-president of CNN. He still had strides as long as my own. Plus, on that night of August 8th, 2005, I was multitasking. I was trying to mentally record everything he was shouting while also drawing him away from the live microphones of the live studio in which he had started shouting, while also fishing for my office key so I could lock myself in there if need be, while also figuring out how I would hit him if it came to that, while also trying to register the superb double takes from my colleagues past whom he was stomping like an out-of-shape Frankenstein, while also trying to suppress an overwhelming and seemingly inappropriate desire to burst into laughter while still game planning the soon-to-be inevitable call to the cops of beautiful downtown Secaucus, New Jersey. Hi, yeah, he's trying to kill me, my boss, the president of MSNBC. Yeah, the cable television network. Yeah, exact, down the street from the London Fog outlet store, yep. 1 MSNBC Plaza. I know it's a dumb address. He's about 60, 275, 280 pounds. By the way, he says he's 6'7", but he's only 6'5". Why? Why does he lie about his height, or why is he trying to kill? Right. Well, I did a commentary urging the viewers to stop smoking, and he's afraid of the mention of blood. Hello? Hello? As all of this played out in my head, President Kaplan was huffing and puffing his way through our giant studio, weaving through the news assignment area, past the makeup room, down the hallways nearing the offices of my show Countdown, and past the bank of a couple of hundred television monitors with a different face on every one of them, each seemingly staring slack-jawed at the executive, screaming threats at the only guy on his own network who got any ratings. I'll pay you back. I'll get you. I'll finish you. I'll kill you. This had all begun roughly 10 days earlier, in late July 2005. An oral surgeon who had intended to examine a growth on the roof of my mouth had instead, with one pale look, silently betrayed his suspicion that it was cancerous, and he cut the whole thing out. I was on my way to work anyway. It was too late to get a replacement, and I was bleeding so much that our technical director and I decided to pre-record all of my on-camera segments for that night's show, thus reducing the chances of viewers hearing me say, President Bush today, while blood oozed out of my mouth, over my teeth and lips, and onto the desk, like I was Draculanker. When, the following Wednesday, I got the unexpected all clear from the surgeon's office, I decided to devote some of each night's newscast to a campaign to help viewers and myself quit smoking. My premise was a simple one that I had never heard argued before and have rarely heard argued since, that it would be a lot easier to quit if you didn't have cancer than if you did have cancer. I pitched my producers on the series. I went into Rick Kaplan's office to get his seal of approval. He was enthusiastic and supportive, and most rare of all, he was paying attention. And then I said I was also going to point out that if you got the good outcome like I had, they would merely stick a laser in your mouth and you'd smell your own flesh burning for like 48 hours, and you'd have to keep spitting out your own blood. Don't say that! He suddenly threw his meaty hands out towards me in a strangling gesture and then just as quickly clamped them over his own ears and closed his eyes and began actually screaming, no, 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 no. I thought he had gone crazy. As it proved, he was just practicing for going crazy later. I'm sorry, I'm squeamish. I get the point. I just can't handle references to, the red stuff. Go ahead with the series. Just tone down the red stuff. I toned down the red stuff, and my executive producer, Izzy Povich, sent him the scripts, and he told her to tone down the red stuff a little more, and I went and I did that too. We all decided to start the anti-smoking series the following Monday, August 8th, 2005, by nauseating coincidence. That was the day after the ABC anchorman Peter Jennings had died of lung cancer. The MSNBC president had been a producer on Jennings' newscast. I had long since written and recorded Jennings' obituary, and now the somewhat cold but still journalistically valid segue would have to be made. We would have to go directly from the 12-minute-long Jennings obit to the start of our anti-tobacco campaign. 8 or 9 minutes into that pre-recorded Jennings obituary, Rick Kaplan came out of his office and walked the 50 feet or so through the vast open newsroom to where my anchor desk was. His eyes were full of tears. "This is wonderful," he said quietly. "Peter would have liked this." He gave me a thumbs up. Then he walked to a second desk another 50 feet away where his first big hire, a woman named Rita Cosby, was about to premiere his first big gamble, her new show, immediately following mine. I was actually moved by Rick Kaplan's comment. I did not once think of phoning the Secaucus police. But then I began the anti-smoking segment, and as I focused on the camera and the teleprompter in front of me and detailed the blood and the gore and the spitting and how that was the good outcome, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this weird sight. The president again left his office and waddled out along the wall 30 feet ahead of me in the general direction of the control rooms. Within moments, as I continued to read my script, he was back in the studio and standing right next to my camera, gesticulating wildly. I said, they never say it, but wouldn't it be really easier to quit smoking when you didn't have cancer than when you did? And Kaplan responded with the same two-handed choking gesture he had made briefly in his office much earlier. I presumed there was some simple problem, like that the building was on fire, but I calculated that I could still make it to the show's scheduled finish time, 8:59:59 EDT, and still survive even if others perished. That's Countdown for this, the 830th day since the declaration of mission accomplished in Iraq. I'm Keith Olbermann. Good night and good luck. You son of a... Rick Kaplan suddenly screamed. From the other anchor desk, I could hear, and this is my impression of her, "Good evening. I'm Rita Cosby. This is Rita Cosby live and direct with Rita Cosby, and I'm Rita Cosby." She was not a big woman, but she had a voice on her like the horn on the Staten Island ferry if it had a cold. "You are over the top. You are disgusting." My first thought was that Kaplan had forgotten that microphones 50 feet away were live during the premiere of his pet project. "Shh, Rita is on," I actually whispered to him. Silly me. "I don't give a F if Rita is on. You were told by Izzy Povich that the piece was over the top and you needed to cut it, and you didn't." I still couldn't bring myself to yell back. We're in a live studio. I did cut it. And Izzy read it and approved it, and she said you had too. And Rita's premiere is going on over there in that sort of direction. Maybe you should yell at me closer to the assignment desk, maybe? "I don't give a crap. If Izzy approved it, then she's an ass. And I can't trust her. I can't trust you. You're all idiots. I can't believe you did this to me. I'm trying to get Rita's show off the ground, and you start talking about spitting blood into a garbage can." Well, now I was getting angry. I couldn't resist. "Yes, Rita is, in fact, live and direct from that desk right over there. And if you'll notice, she keeps looking over here at us, wondering why you are yelling during the first minutes of her first show. So why don't we move over here, Rick?" I began to move away from him. "And we're walking away from the live mics, and we're walking, and Rick and Keith are walking because the noise isn't really professional." "Well, we're not talking professionals, are we? We're talking idiots." We were walking, and he was still screaming. "You're idiots! I will never trust you again!" He had begun to trot, or stumble, or whatever he was doing. "This is not over! I will pay you back, self-serving garbage! I will get you, and I'll get that a-hole Izzy for not staying here and reading that script! How many times did you intend to say spit blood into a garbage can before I stopped you?" I now realized what he thought had happened, as he had gestured spasmodically at me while he stood next to my camera. I briefly let my focus shift to amazement at the fact that this guy who had been in TV news for 25 years knew almost nothing about how TV worked. I explained to him that Izzy and one of her assistants and I had gone over the script several times and taken out half of the gorier references. "Then they suck at television! And since I can't trust anybody here, since they won't stand up to you and edit the script since you obviously bullied them..." He balled up his fist and stomped his foot on the floor as he called me a bully. "I'm now going to have to approve every piece of your copy." By this point, I was backing into the Countdown work area with its array of desks and all the producers Kaplan had just insulted. I knew one of them would dial the phone when I said, "Call the cops and call this lunatic's boss." "Did you hear me? And if you don't like it and you don't want to come into work tomorrow, that's fine too." I never did get that part. But now I had him. I crossed my arms in front of my chest slowly, like you have seen every news anchor do in every television news promo ever shown in the history of the world. I flashed as evil a slow-mo smile as I could. "Oh, I'll be here tomorrow." And then I made a sweeping gesture back towards my staff, who were both, of course, literally and figuratively behind me. "And so will all of them." Suddenly, at that point, for no apparent reason, Rick Kaplan's hysterics were replaced by mere confusion. He even stopped huffing. At almost normal volume, he asked me, "All of who?" Only at this point did I turn around to discover that my entire staff had already left the building. There was nobody there behind me. Of course there was nobody there, Izzy Povich told me later. He went into the control room and threatened all of them first. So we got on the phone back to the office to tell everybody to get the hell out of the building. She paused and laughed. "I mean, we love you, but we're not crazy." Rick Kaplan's exorcism was a brief one. He began screaming again. "I'm going to end your career tomorrow. I'm going to completely F you up." He turned and stumbled away from my office. "Good luck sleeping tonight." I slept like a stone. And not because Kaplan had previously threatened to fire me for not leaving my father's bedside after what they thought was a heart attack to fly to L.A. to appear on The Tonight Show, and not because he'd once threatened to fire me because he didn't like my tie, and not because he had previously threatened to fire me for not doing something during live coverage that I had already done, but he thought we hadn't done because he was watching us not live, but on delay on his DVR. President of a network. And I slept beautifully, not because I correctly guessed this would be it for Rick Kaplan, and it was. The next day, Human Resources forced him to apologize to me, and 10 months later, his bosses fired him. Nor did I snooze blessedly because of any bravery or stoicism or fatalism on my part, but I slept well simply because of the realization that even after all of this, Rick Kaplan was still only the second or third craziest MSNBC executive I had ever worked for. I've done all the damage I can do here. Thank you for listening. I escaped with my life twice that week. Most of our Countdown music was arranged, produced, and performed by Brian Ray and John Philip Chanel, our musical directors of Countdown. It was produced by TKO Brothers. Mr. Ray was on the guitars, bass, and drums. Mr. Chanel handled orchestration and keyboards. Our satirical and pithy musical comments are by the best baseball stadium organist ever, Nancy Faust. And she, of course, accompanied me on my singing of Ode to Joy in the original High German. The Olbermann theme from ESPN2, written by Mitch Warren Davis, courtesy of ESPN Inc., is the sports music. Other music was arranged and performed by the group No Horns Allowed. My announcer today was my friend Jonathan Banks from Breaking Bad. Everything else was, as always, my fault. That's Countdown for today, day 179 of America Held Hostage again. But just 1,284 days until the scheduled end of Trump's lame duck and lame-brained term, unless he is removed sooner by MAGA and Jeffrey Epstein. Surprise! B-tape. The next scheduled countdown is Monday. Maybe by then I'll have an announcement on the future of this whole thing. Till then, I'm Keith Olbermann. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and good luck.